Okay, so I'm going to make the foundation using the silicone mold that I got from Easy Beezy. What I do is a normal kitchen table, or this is the outside table we use. 2 layers of newspaper, because the heat of the wax will actually melt the covering of the table if it's furniture wax. This is the outside table, so I don't really mind, but I did this in the kitchen and then I got yelled at. These molds are 2 pieces, and I've clamped them together like this, but there's a bit of a trick to this. One is that you've got to make a few test runs using the mold to season it. So your first few attempts won't be an immediate success. Don't be disheartened. This thing has to be seasoned a bit. The other thing is, the YouTube videos that you see say that you need to wet this thing. You must not do that, because every time you have not a perfect one and you want to reuse the wax gets wet, and it doesn't mold properly when you have wet wax, because some of it is water, some of it is wax, and it just makes a groot gemors. Then the other thing that I do is I use wax paper, and I build a bit of a mold, a moat around this thing, because you will have beeswax spilling over the sides of this as you mold it, just to catch it so you can peel it off quite easily and recycle it. You can see I used top bars and things just to keep the paper down, because I'm doing it outside and it's a bit windy. It being Port Elizabeth, it's always windy. So I'm going to melt the wax now and then make a cast. Wax is in a double boiler where it uses a hot water jacket, but I find I can't get my wax hot enough for the mold, so I like to do it like this. I just have to watch it. You can't leave this thing on the stove at all, because when beeswax reaches 400 degrees, which is quite quick, it ignites and you'll have a fire in your kitchen. So if you're going to do this, just watch it intently and keep it from burning. The other thing is, if it goes too hot, then the wax loses its consistency, it changes its properties. So you want it nice and simmering hot, but you don't want it boiling, and you certainly don't want it to reach a flash point, because then it gets very dangerous. And the other thing is, don't do this when your wife is at home, because there's always a little bit of spillage, and although it's easy to clean up, it looks like a horrible mess, and you will get clobbered by the spouse. Okay, now before it cools off, do the wax. You sort of roll this mold in, and the wax needs to be really liquid. And try and go as quick as you can. Cover up the edges. Gently press it down. Never put this back on the stove with the stove on, because it will very quickly start boiling, and before you know it, you'll have a fire. So rather do it away from the stove. Okay, now you wait until this sets, the wax sets, and you'll feel the mold is quite warm still. Now the trick is not to peel from this end. You see, on all the YouTube videos, everybody fiddles with this end. You mustn't do that, because that is the end of your foundation. This is the end of the mold, and the reason I make it in 2 parts is that you could peel this apart. So you'll see just now, I've got bees around. Just now I undo these clips, and then I gently peel away from this end. Then you peel it loose to almost the end here, and then you put it back together, you flip it over, and you peel off the other end, and then you can take out your wax. So I'll do that just now. I just want it to set. It is still a bit hot, and obviously the beeswax hasn't got full integrity yet, so we just have to wait a bit. Okay, so we see how this went. quickly peel away this end. I do the end there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, you put them back together again, just loosely, just to support it when you turn it over. Turn it over. Now you do the same on the other side and be gentle. What I like about this is it gives a very crisp, clear wax foundation print. Presumably the bees like that. Ta-da! There you have it. Perfect foundation. It's not quite uniform thickness, but you'll never get that with a pourable mold like this, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to make a few more.